Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Cosmos Atom. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. If you haven't seen the previous update, make sure to watch that before watching this one. It's going to be linked in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now, let's get straight into the TA. So jumping into the weekly chart on TradingView, we have the same Fibonacci retracement on the chart. If you don't know how to use the Fibonacci retracement, there's going to be a link down below in the description and to a video where I explain how I use the Fibonacci retracement to get some support and resistance levels. So our swing low is set in March of 2020 and the swing high is set in May of 2021. As you can see, we had a nice pullback in June into the 0.5 Fibonacci. And from there, we had a move to the upside into September and a pullback to the golden ratio, 0.618. And now we're having a bounce to the upside. And our next immediate target is going to be the 786 at $15.50. So things are looking good for Cosmos. We are printing a higher low here, and that's pretty good right now because this could be the start of an uptrend. However, we do need to see this September high broken, because if we don't break that, this is simply going to be a lower high, and we're probably going to come back down and retest the 0.5 if we're not going to see a move to the upside from here. If I start zooming in a little bit more, you can see that we do have a pattern playing out. So this is a descending broadening wedge, as you can see, and we are running into the resistance of the wedge once again. So we've done that multiple times. If I switch to the daily chart actually here, this might be a bit better. As you can see, we're running into the resistance of the wedge, and looks like we're going to see a little bit of a pullback. Every time we ran into the resistance of the wedge, we had to move all the way down to the support of the wedge. Now, the support of the wedge in this case would be all the way down here, probably sitting around about $5.50. So technically what would happen is we'd probably be retesting this 0.5 local low that we printed in June 2022, and that is if we come back that low. From where we are right now, that would be a hefty 58% pullback. So I don't think that necessarily is going to happen unless Bitcoin has a very strong capitulation, a flash crash. Then we might see most of the altcoins dump 40 to 70% in a day or in an hour even. And what I'm going to be targeting instead here, if we do see a pullback, is this support block. So anywhere between $7.90 all the way down to $7.35. This golden support block is pretty important because we've retested it twice during the summer of 2022, and it held us as support. And we could potentially come back down there if we lose the golden ratio, which is at $8.79. So we might come back down to the golden ratio, have a little bounce and lose that, come back to the golden ratio, or to the golden support block, and from there we continue into the next bull market. Also, now let's jump into the daily RSI and see what's going on there. So let's zoom in. As you can see, we got very overextended here in the middle of January. So this was a good opportunity to take some profits. And if you were looking for a swing trade, this was your chance. So we had a perfect bounce here from the area of the pink and green support trend lines. We didn't go as low as the orange trend line here, but still the green and the green and pink trend lines are still support levels that we are going to be targeting for any future pullbacks. So if we see a strong pullback at the start of February, once the FOMC meeting happens, and we see another, let's say 25, maybe even 50 basis points hike. If we see a 50 basis points hike, I think we're going to see a pullback because the 25 basis points hike is already priced into the markets. So the green trend line and the pink trend lines are your support levels that you should be looking for on the RSI. If you want to buy some Cosmos coins, then I would probably wait a bit right now because we're a bit overheated and we want to pull back down a little further until we see a healthy until we see a healthy retest, I wouldn't be buying into Cosmos personally. The gap in between the EMAs is getting quite large, so we usually see a pullback once that happens. And like I said, we're running into that resistance level. If I extend this, as you can see, we're holding this wide support trend line as well. And this is based off of the swing high we created in May. We also retested that level in August, and we've been retesting it as support multiple times, and we even retested it as resistance once again in October. So this is a pretty important level, and what could end up happening here is you can see that the yellow trend line and the white trend lines are sort of creating a descending triangle here. So if we continue doing something like this, there is a very good chance we might drop and come back down to our next immediate support at $11.20. That's going to be below the EMAs. So at that point, I think we're probably going to get another bearish cross, even though we did get this bullish cross here January 11th. But that still doesn't mean that we're heading into the bull market immediately, because this is simply a bullish cross in a bear market, which means that we saw a pretty strong move to the upside, but we need to be looking at higher time frames for these bullish cross confirmations, and Bitcoin is the first one we should be looking at. So once we get the bullish cross on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, I think that's going to be a major signal. So you have your support levels here. If we start breaking above the yellow resistance trend line, then obviously your 786 $15.50 is your next immediate target. Then you have your local high that you printed in September at $17.36. And after that, we are going to be taking a look at, we're going to be breaking down this area in detail once we start breaking out, because there are a couple of levels we could be taking a look at here. For example, the swing low that we printed in December, the swing high we printed in April and in February here. So a lot of levels to look at, but I don't want to bore you with that until we start breaking out from here. Now let's switch over to the Binance chart. And before we continue, I quickly want to ask you, do you value your privacy? If the answer is yes, then you must take a look at ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN offers you the privacy that you deserve, no activity logs and no connection logs. Your internet provider won't be able to access anything, and anyone using the same open free Wi-Fi in the cafe as you won't be able to do any harm or breach your security. You can use the ExpressVPN application on any device. You can connect it to your PlayStation, or you can even connect it to your router so that anyone who connects is automatically secured. Or if you're looking to access any region-blocked content on your streaming platform, well, ExpressVPN can do that as well. If you're living in the Netherlands and you want to access a TV show that's only available in Japan, well, my friend, you can do that with ExpressVPN. You can use the link down below in the description and get a discounted price along with 3 extra months for free. You can get your money back if you don't like it, but I don't see any reason why you wouldn't like it, because we all need the privacy, and in today's age especially. And you can also pay with Bitcoin, so that's a really cool feature as well. And let's get on with the video. So switching over to the Binance weekly chart, as you can see, we're breaking out of this falling wedge, which is a very good indicator. We're already opening up candles above that, and this looks to be my Elliott wave theory, funnily enough, can actually play out, which I wasn't expecting, to be honest with you, but let's see how this goes. Probably we're going to get a pullback relatively soon. We could come back into this support block anywhere between $10.15 and $8.50. That's a pretty important support block for us to hold. As you can see, that's exactly what we retested with this pullback here in December, and we had the bounce to the upside. So, for example, if we're looking at this specific Fibonacci retracement that I have, which is from this swing high in January 2022, and we have the swing low in January 2022 as well. So this was basically a move to the downside, retracement to the 0.5, retest of the 0.236, and now we're above the 0.382. So our next target is going to be the 0.5 and the 0.618, and that's the golden ratio area. So that's going to be a very strong level for us to get through. But once we do that, there's a high chance that we're going to be retracing all the way up to the all-time high here at $44.50. 54 cents, because usually once you break the golden ratio, you're pretty much set to, well, you're almost guaranteed to retest the local high or the first fib level of the retracement. Now, from where we are right now, we're sitting at, we're looking at another potential 240% move to the upside to get to our all-time high. And from the all-time high, we're sitting at a 70% pullback. So Cosmos is doing really, really good right now. So I'm really excited about what we're going to see in the next 2 years from this project. And yeah, like I said, this Elliott wave theory, if it plays out, that's going to be perfect, because I laid this out months ago. Now, taking a look at the weekly RSI, we're having a break to the upside. As you can see, we broke above both of the resistance levels here. So we could be looking for a backtest of support from either one of those. We also had a nice retracement down here in December towards the red support trend line that I gave you at 38.8 on the index. But we didn't really backtest it as support. We just went down towards it, and then we had that pump, right? So I would be looking at entries at some of these teal trend lines here, and these teal trend lines are based off of these local highs and local lows that we've been printing since the bull market started in 2020 and 2021. So you have multiple support levels below the teal trend lines as well. For example, at 43 on the index, at 40.85 on the index, and 38.87 on the index. So these are your support levels. If we manage to do something like this, right, and you just drop and you end up at a position like this, then obviously you know that that's a perfect buying opportunity, because you know, you're oversold on the weekly for a project that is very bullish. That's always a good sign. And every time you're oversold on any time frame, you typically have a very strong move to the upside, and that's exactly what we saw here in June into September, and that's potentially what we could see once we have another move to the oversold, which I'm not sure we're going to see that unless we have a flash crash. So that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Feel free to check out my Patreon and my Twitter. All of those are linked down below in the description. There's also a 7-day free trial for my Patreon, so feel free to join in and see if you like it or not. And yeah, I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Goodbye and good night.